What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the new CRX project. The engine is pretty much ready to go. I spent a day yesterday off camera just really buttoning up the B20 and repairing the messed up, hacked up harness that came with the car. But don't worry, the harness that we're using on the engine right now is not going to be the final harness that's going to be installed into the car. I do have a brand new tuck harness that's going to go onto the new engine that's going to be permanently planted into the car, but we're going to save that for a later video. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly. The B20 is ready to rock and roll. The harness is already installed beforehand. Vacuum lines, coolant lines. We have distributor spark plug wires, which are the wrong one. They are a little tall, but regardless, they are clicked into the spark plug, which are brand new as well too. Some NGK iridiums and click, there you go. And this thing is ready to go in, so I think that's what we're gonna do today, guys. And I'm not gonna talk about storm. I just want to get the job done because I'm hoping we can fire this car over with the B20 engine in this video. So before I get the engine into the car, guys, I've been messing with the front end for a day or so now, and I've gotten it as straight as possible, but I think the hood is what's throwing me off. So if I latch it and we get this whole entire gap right here looking nice and good, that sounds weird, but nice and fitted, the bumper gap to the hood is pretty high right here, and I'm thinking the hood, it's what's messed up, not anything else. So that's really bothering me, and I think I'm gonna end up just switching the hood. Like I mentioned before, it was kind of kinked right here in the middle, and hopefully it'll fix that bumper gap. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off the wheels from the car because we need to lower the car enough to mount the engine in and then lift it back up. I also have to take off one radius rod so we can slide the engine from underneath the car. So I'm going to take that one off right there off the LCA. Now I'm going to hang you guys up on the pole like a stripper. We're going to jack the car up super high so we can roll the engine from underneath. Now that we rolled the engine under the car, we're gonna lower it back on the jack stands and then jack it up from the front so we can bring the entire front end all the way down to bolt up the engine. I need to get me a fan to put right here on my workbench because just sitting there for 5 minutes, I'm already sweating. But today is actually really nice, clear skies, sun's out, breezy, not scorching hot at all. But we have the B20 installed into the CRX, and we are using eBay motor mounts. It was a little bit of a fight to get the rear one to line up, but the only reason why I'm using eBay motor mounts is because we are using a cable transmission. The cable transmission bolt pattern is different than the hydro, and well, I don't know where that motor mount went, but let me find it. So this right here is a Hasport hydraulic transmission mount, and if you look, the transmission has two 17mm holes facing the front of the car. It sits like this, and then you have the one in the rear. The cable transmission formation is different. We have two 17 in the rear and one in the front. So in order to mount this transmission, I have to use this motor mount matching motor mount kit, and it is secured, it is in there, it is pretty solid, and yeah, I think we're just gonna rock with this for now, and I think we're also gonna use that same mount for the actual engine that's going into the car because we are using a cable B16 transmission. I picked this up from the storage yesterday. It is my S1 B16 cable transmission that came off my B16A engine that we stuck into Leo's car, RIP to the homie. And we're gonna be using that same motor mount. I'm probably gonna make a front motor mount as well too, just so we can have 4 motor mounts in total to ensure the engine is not going to rock. So the engine is in place, and now all we have to do is plug up the driver's side, passenger side, the fuel in, fuel out, and oil it up. Go inside the car. ECU jumper, because we are OBD1, stick a battery in it, and we can fire it over. So let's go ahead and start buttoning up all the little things. I forgot to mention, it is very important to have grounds on your engine, and I need to find grounds because I don't have any. But that's no big deal. I can make it if I don't have it. OBD0 chassis, like the EFs and the DAs, the map sensor plug is on the firewall, and normally it's integrated into the shock tower, so you're gonna have to just reach it over and stick it on the map sensor that sits on the throttle body if your engine is an OBD1 or an OBD2. The car does have a Hush Performance hydro conversion, and we're gonna have to figure out how to use this with the cable trans. I know Hush Performance sells an adapter kit, but I hit him up and he says that he doesn't have one in stock that's available to be sold to me, which is kind of weird, but like, I think I have enough pictures to make one myself. So we're gonna have to figure that out once we get there. But for right now, we're not actually utilizing the transmission. No half shaft, no axle, no shift linkage. What is this? Resistor delete, no trans fluid, and there's actually no clutch in the transmission. Return line right here, that's gonna just slip right on. Get a flathead for that. Not worried too much about the throttle cable because we're gonna have to modify a bracket just to make it work, and because this is not the engine that's gonna stay, we're not gonna want to modify the bracket and then have to do it again for the other intake manifold. Brake booster vacuum, kind of at a weird angle there. Okay, that doesn't move. Only hooking it up so it doesn't have any vacuum leaks. We got this one already blocked off right here, and this one right here is for the fuel pressure regulator. Honestly, I can probably make a ground out of this one right here and this one right here in the front. So let's see what we come up with. This right here, guys, is our new ground cable, even though it's really short. You guys saw in the engine bay cleaning video, we took off the stock fuel filter system because we were cleaning back there, and I was going to convert over to -6, but I don't have any of the material right now, so we're going to have to convert it for when the new engine goes in. And this right here is the factory fuel filter system, and I'm not sure how clean it is, but I'm sure it has been open. But we're just going to run it for now just to see if this engine turns on, and then once we pull everything out, that's going to come out. We're not going to worry about it anymore. So let me find some hardware and get this thing installed. Parkour. We are going to need a fuel line, and I have a couple of them in here. This is feed in, this is feed out. This one right here has the fitting. What's the other one? This one has a 90 on it. Let's see which one we need. So I have a factory ground wire that goes on the transmission to the chassis, and then it goes to the battery. I am going to keep the battery in the engine bay. I just got to find a battery tray to go right there. This one right here goes onto the chassis right here, and then this end goes to the transmission right here. Got this secured, this one here secured, and this just goes on the battery somewhere here. This tote right here has all of the heater stuff that I was supposed to reinstall in the KRX, but I don't think I'm going to be using it in the KRX anymore because I have the prop valve sitting on the firewall. So I'm probably going to go with the T7 Design Race heater box, and I may use all of this in the new project. So I was digging through this to try to find a battery tray, and I don't have one there, so I'm going to check my other tote. Hi, Lucy. Hopefully I can find one in here. This box pretty much contains all of my right-hand drive wagon stuff when I first converted over. A lot of things I didn't use, so hopefully we have a green battery tray in there. I don't think there's one in there, but we'll check anyways. Damn, this tote needs an update. It's been sitting back here since 2013 on my right-hand drive AC stuff right here. Chop front mud guards. Sheesh. My local junkyard just got an EF a couple of days ago, so maybe I'll hit the yard tomorrow to see if the battery tray is still there. But we're still gonna put the battery in the bay and try to fire it over today. Right now, I just gotta find a power wire that goes from the battery terminal to the fuse box to the starter, and then put some oil in, go inside the car, hook up the ECU jumper, and actually find an ECU that's compatible, because I don't remember if I have an OBD1 ECU. Going through my electrical bin here, and this right here is the one that I pulled out of the car, and they modified the factory power wire that goes from the battery to the fuse box and the starter into this like O gauge, 1O gauge wiring here, and the other side has the factory terminal. Now the only thing I probably use from this is just these two right here. I'm gonna have to cut that off, and I'm gonna use this battery terminal because this is the one you can just attach the wire to and crimp it down. So I'm gonna try to make a power wire for the car, but when I go to the junkyard tomorrow, I'm also going to look for that in the EF and try to retain the factory power wire. But for right now, we're going to make something work. Oh, damn. Oh, that is a whole glob of solder. Golly. Definitely cannot use this. I need to figure out the length of the cables before I secure them, so let me do some measuring. Okay, this will do for now. So I have a couple of OBD1 ECUs, and I have a stock P28 right here. I'm probably going to use this. It'll power the B20. Probably going to throw a couple of check engine lights for like O2 sensor, VTEC pressure switch. Everything else is also VTEC ECU, 9293 GSR, P72 GSR. I have another P28, but this one has a burnt Q31 resistor. This one right here is the RX Racing ECU. This one P72 and also P72. Everything else is OBD2 and OBD0, and then K-swap stuff. So probably gonna use, this is not a flex. This is just a bunch of ECUs that accumulated over the years, and none of it is for sale, so don't ask. So we're gonna rock the P28 and the OBD0 to OBD1 conversion with none of the sub harness attached, because again, we're just testing. We're not really trying to crack VTEC or anything like that, not that we have VTEC anyways. So let's go ahead and hook this up. Beautiful part. Nothing on the factory ECU plugs are cut, so simple enough. This plugs in like so. I actually have this jumper harness somewhere and I don't remember where it's at. Okay, now go ahead and just hook up the ECU. This is a bone stock non-chip P28. I opened it up and verified it. It looks really clean. So ECU now installed. So now let's put oil in the engine. What the heck? Holy cow. That red zone oil funnel that screws on the valve cover. Ta-da! Break-in oil. Nothing crazy. This is just gonna cycle a few times and should be drained out, but we're just gonna leave it in the engine because we're not driving it. We're just turning it on to see what the engine sounds like. Probably gonna put 4 quarts in here. This is a 5-quart jug. Shout out to Alex for giving me his battery because he bought a new one. This one was fully charged on the trickle. Shout out to Jonathan for that. And hopefully we got some battery juice in here still. Didn't realize I was using a ground terminal, and it is a lot smaller than the positive, but go ahead and hook up the ground. And I did take off the distributor plug just so we aren't firing it over just yet. We want to crank the engine, get the oil cycled through, and I think we're ready. I think we are ready. The battery is really dim and I don't hear the fuel pump. This jump pack is kind of boo-boo, but hopefully it has enough juice in here. Oh, the battery is dead. I did hear the fuel pump come on though, and we are throwing a check engine light, but yeah, the battery's dead. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm just gonna jack the battery out of Blueberry because this is the only car that doesn't have a battery tie down, and it is very easy to take off. Really not trying to go into the night here. The sun is still way up there, and we have probably 4 hours to turn this car on, but we're not going to need all 4 hours. So the key is still in the car, and great way for me to check any fuel leaks. Nada. I gotta check to make sure the return line is getting fuel, and it is. Okay, so let's go and try to crank this thing over. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and plug in the distributor, and this is a distributor I found in my storage unit. Not entirely sure if it even works, but we about to find out. Oh, damn, right away. sounds good. It sounds really good. I'm gonna hang you guys back up here on the stripper pole, and we're gonna let the engine idle a couple heat cycles before we call it Gucci potatoes. The smoke is coming off the header, probably from me touching it bare hands. But if I'm looking down at the exhaust manifold, no smoke whatsoever. The car is currently idling right under 1,000. Man, we are looking good. Temperature's getting up really quickly because there is no cooling system in here, and I think that's it. I mean, it sounds freaking awesome. You guys hear it? I'm stoked. One thing I did forget to do was calibrate the TPS sensor. It is kind of loose back here still. You can go to Google, simple enough, type in B series TPS calibration. This Honda Tech thread pulls up and the entire instruction is there for you. So I'm not really going to show you because, you know, if you look it up, you can just read it and do it yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and knock this out quick because I think that's all I'm really gonna do for this video. We accomplished what we wanted to do, was plant the B20 in and fire it over. Just a few little odds and ends to button up before you know, we yank this engine out of here. But I think I'm gonna leave it in here for another day or so because I want to cycle this engine a couple of times and then we'll pull it out. Plus we're still waiting for parts for the LSV to go in anyways, and that kind of gives us a few days regardless. So let's calibrate this TPS real quick. Fire it over one more time here. It sounds like it has an aftermarket fuel pump, but I don't know what's in here. The fact that this thing fires over so quickly, I figured while we're here, before we cap out this video, let's do a compression test. I just realized the throttle cable is not hooked up, so I can't even wide open throttle. Let me hook it up real quick. Throttle cable is hooked up. Temporary solution because the throttle cable bracket is not the correct one, but hopefully we can get a full throttle out of it. Yes, sir. We have distributor disconnected and fuel injector disconnected, so I can't see it from here, or I can, kind of. Give it about 7-8 cranks. It stopped. Woo, that is high. Cylinder number 1, 200. Sorry, I didn't realize the sudden glare. Cylinder number 1, we are at 200 compression. That is freaking awesome. Woo! Just under 195? Is that 195? I can't tell. 190. Man, I want like 193, 195. Pretty close. Cylinder number 2, we are at 195. Cylinder 3, what is it, 185? Interesting. Cylinder number 4, holy cow, 210. You seeing that right? It's like under 210, 208 maybe. That's pretty high. I didn't show you guys this earlier, but I did get the driver's side quarter panel painted, and we have it installed with the storage compartment. We still don't have any speaker covers or the shock tower covers right here, but for the most part, we are kind of getting the rear interior where we need it to be. I'm probably gonna make a spare tire cover just so that you don't really see the green. I'm probably gonna cover it with some black material so that way it kind of blends in all together, but for the most part it's looking a little bit more complete. All right guys, so we're gonna wrap up the video right here. We swapped the CRX with the rebuilt B20Z engine, 0 miles. We turned it on, it sounds awesome. The compression, questionable, but regardless, it sounds freaking awesome. It's all within each other, and I'm just gonna let that be. I think this engine is probably gonna sit in the car for another day or so, maybe just 1 day. I want to heat cycle it a few more times before I yank it out. And like I mentioned, I don't have a clutch anyways for the new engine, so I have to order that tonight, and I guess it's just gonna depend on when it shows up, and then we'll toss the LSV into the car. But for the most part, progress is better than no progress. We're moving quite along here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on this new Project CRX. And if you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for the new engine installation, the built LSV tech that we did here on the channel a couple of months ago, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.